This legislation is infringement on those rights. Not only does House Bill 2827 create new mandates and new regulations, but is a start of a slippery slope. It starts by making small changes, and like most policies here in Illinois, it keeps chipping away more and more from homeschool families.
The homeschool growth is tremendous in Illinois, and so a lot of families are finding individual reasons to remove their children from the public school environment, violence and bullying being one of those issues.
Illinois has plenty of challenges. We all know that. It's not a secret. We watch the news. But homeschooling is, frankly, not one of those challenges. It's not a problem. It's a solution.
Well, we have Illinois State Republican reps Schweitzer, Deering, and Weaver all talking about HB 2827, and we're going to get to the details of this bill here in a second. But isn't it interesting that right when everyone's like, this public education system that is set up for our kids is insufficient or it's overbearing, we're gonna go find an alternative. If you look at what the state of Illinois did to families, hi, I'm one of them. I had a husband in education and 3 kids in school. So grateful that I send my kids to a Lutheran school. I pay the tuition to send them there, and I'm grateful that I do, and I do that to keep them out of the public education system. Some people's solution at that time was to homeschool those kids, and now the Illinois supermajority of Democrats and our Lord J.B. Pritzker want their fingers and their hands all over the education that you tried to provide for your kids as an alternative to the crap education system the state has provided for them. I mean, that's my summary. We'll see what House Minority Leader Tony McCombie wants to do to clean that up. Let's get her on the show here. Love having Leader McCombie on with us. You and I have been in many places together over the course of the years, and I know you're fighting to do what's right for the state of Illinois and their students. Tell me a little bit about HB 2827, and I've been alerted to it 2927 as well. Maybe you can tell us a little bit of the basis, the foundation of what Democrats are trying to do.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Don't you think it's really a way to deflect on what's going on in the public schools? I think that's kind of what's happening. And you're not protected with your kids going to the Lutheran school with this bill. The private schools are also being targeted here. There's a part of this homeschool bill that is asking or requiring that your private schools are going to have to inform the state of Illinois your children's names and information to the state of Illinois. So you're part of this now too. And they say that they're going to amend the bill. We don't have any idea what that's going to look like. Oftentimes when the bill gets amended, especially with this much opposition, it could be worse. Oftentimes the Democrats double down on bad policies. So it's a little terrifying of what that's going to be. But I think Representative Weaver put it best when he said, the bill aims to fix a problem where it doesn't exist. The sponsors of the bill, and that would be Representative Tara Costa Howard and Representative Mussman, talk about truancy and safety of children. And there is nobody in the state of Illinois or under the dome that doesn't want to put the safety of children first. But if you're going to talk about truancy, and I want to look at my notes so I say it right, the school report card that is on ISB states that the chronic truancy rate is around 20% for all demographics. Low income students, that number is about 31.7%. Why are we not tackling the issue that is already at hand that we have in our public school system? Why are we looking for a problem that doesn't exist? Why are we not tackling what we already know? That's the question I have.
That's a great question. And, I think you could probably parse. I'm sure it's not a 1-for-1 ratio, but the people who have said, you know what, my tax dollars still go to the public education system, but I'm going to do what I need to do, sacrifice what I need to sacrifice between dollar and minute that you'd have to take to homeschool your kids. It's a ton of time and a ton of dedication to do that, or to send them to a parochial school, some sort of alternative to public school. For me, it's a Lutheran school. It is a sacrifice to do that, and you're choosing to do that because you see it best fit for your kids. What is the state of Illinois? What kind of requirements are they looking to put on these families? What kind of burden are they putting on these families if this bill gets through?
Well, one, curriculum mandates. That's
scary.
Absolutely.
I mean, when you say curriculum mandates, Leader McCombie, what could that mean?
Oh, I think it could be endless. right?
Is that sex education? Is that you have to teach a certain kind of, like we've seen DEI be throttled into our classrooms in a public education system. Does that mean that they could require those types of things for private schools, for Christian schools, for homeschools?
Well, I think certainly. I mean, they could say what they want. I don't think there's anybody in their homes. No different than, thankfully, teachers when they tried to put the national standards on us. What was that in 2018? I mean, many teachers, thankfully, were even, in a lot of our rural districts, especially, in my district and in probably Southern Illinois, especially, well, actually all throughout the state, where some of those teachers are pushing back saying, we're not going to teach those national standards. Now, there were teachers that were saying they're going to teach it, but a lot of teachers were like, nope, that is way too far. We're not teaching that crap. I think you put it earlier to our kids, right? But yeah, that it could definitely be that. And I think that is a push. And I think that's why a lot of folks with the administration with Trump about abolishing the Department of Education, because we don't want national standards. We certainly don't want that. So that certainly could be a push for that. That's certainly it. The homeschool educator requirements requiring what for the parents. I mean, I don't even know how you would police that, and why are you policing it is a better question. And they want it to mirror our public schools. Well, if you wanted it to be like public schools, you would be putting your children into the public school.
Facts.
But anything, I think that the majority party, whether it's your business, how you live your life, whether it's education, your leisure, everything, anything to add more regulation and, make government bigger, they're all for it. And this is just another example of that.
Does HB 2827 for homeschoolers specifically, does it permit any government representatives to enter the homes of these people in a way that hasn't already, in order to inspect or to supervise or anything like that? Does it put forth for that?
I think if they are truant, it would allow, and I'm not 100% on this, Annie, but I think if they were truant, it would allow a department to come in if they were truant.
Ryan, did you have a question?
Yeah, Leader McCombie, this is Ryan Wiggins. I'm not trying to score any political points. I'm genuinely asking this question. Are the people pushing this bill in Illinois, the legislators, are they listening to homeschool parents and private school parents, or are they kind of saying, no, we don't really want to listen, we're going to do this?
Well, I would love to say that they are listening to homeschool parents, but I am going to probably tell you the truth and say they're just going to do this.
So regardless,
we have right now, we looked it up right beforehand, 24,697 opponents with 608 proponents. That tells me right away that they should probably hold off on calling this to the committee next week. And next week is committee hearing deadline. If that was my bill, well, first off, as a Republican, the majority party would never let me call a bill with that many opponents. It just wouldn't happen. So I wouldn't want to carry a bill that had that many opponents. I'd be like, okay, there's something really wrong with this. How do I fix it? This is not happening. They're going to call this bill next week.
What were the numbers on the opponents there? What did you say?
As of just right before this interview, 24,697 opponents with 608 proponents.
And is that the witness slips?
That's correct. And our caucus, right when this got filed, we started a survey petition right away because we wanted to be able to try to capture as many people within our caucus. And just our caucus, which is small but mighty, Annie.
Yeah.
We have 12,256 people that want to be kept in the know just with our caucus. So, that's half of the opponents that we're trying to communicate with right away to keep up on what's going on.
Can people still file witness slips on this?
Yes, they can. Yep.
Can you?
And you can almost go to any one of us. You go to ilga.com, go to put in the bill number, which is HB 2827, and you will see witness slip. And then you will go ahead and make sure to file in as an opponent.
Can they change the name of the bill and all those witness slips go away?
Oh, yes. There could be some shenanigans. You saw that with the firearm ban. They could put it on a shell bill and it'll take the witness slips does not follow the bill. and they could refile, and it'll look like there's no witness slips. But
And if they do that, how long do they have to wait before they can take the bill and call it, bring it up?
well, unfortunately, they make the rules and break their own rules to do what they want. So technically, they shouldn't be able to do that at all. But they would have to have notice. But they can suspend the rules, and they can get it called.
So they could make it make it a shell bill. They could change the name of it. The witness slips, 24,000 plus witness slips go away, and then they call the bill, and there's no opponents on it. Oh. Will you please text me the second that they do some crap like that so I can blow them up here?
Yes, definitely.
I would appreciate that. I want to shift to a different way we can solve this problem in the long term, which is the gerrymandering of the districts in the state of Illinois. Talk to me about the increase in Republican support in the state and how that materialized in the seats that Republicans hold. How were the voices of Republican voters in the state of Illinois handled in this last election with these new districts?
Well, I think, one of the things that was apparent with this last election, now we have 2 cycles under this new map. And you saw, obviously, with President Trump, you saw a bigger swell of Republican voters, right? But you still saw us in the House still holding only 40. And you saw 2 cycles ago, the House Republican, we had 70,000 more GOP, we had more votes for the House Republicans than they did for House Democrats, 70,000 more votes. So you say, well, how in the world then do you only have 40 out of 118? Well, it's because of the map. So we had a federal lawsuit under Leader Durkin, and unfortunately that was lost. Now this lawsuit, after 2 cycles and after a study, we have a lawsuit on the state side that we have put into the Supreme Court. And actually, really good news. They could have dismissed it right away, and they didn't. So now we're going forward, and we're right now at the point of proving that it's timeliness. And we believe that we've made that case because now we have 2 election cycles with 3 left under this map to prove that it is timely, that we are being screwed here in Illinois because of this map. So, and it's interesting because we had in 1981 a Supreme Court case that was won with 1 district that was not compact. And we've had a study done now by an outside source. And now we have 52 districts that are not compact. And so it's apparent to us, it's apparent to an outside study, and we redid the map 10,000 different ways. And we still, it's apparent to us. We hope that it will be apparent to the Supreme Court. And what we hope out of this will, the Supreme Court will appoint a special master to draft a new and fair independent map.
Wow.
Because if nothing else is done, next cycle, the party in control, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, shouldn't be drawing these maps. And some of my Republican colleagues in Republican stronghold states will argue probably with me on that, but absolutely the party in control should not be doing these maps. We just shouldn't.
I'm reading here from March 5th, the editorial board for the Chicago Tribune, what that might mean for people downstate here to understand that this is what they are saying. For better or for worse, November 2024 elections were a triumph for Republicans nationwide, and margins for the GOP in deep blue Illinois were no exception. For the Illinois House, Republicans received a total 45% of votes statewide, a considerably better showing than in 2020, the previous presidential election year, when the GOP just got 39% of the Illinois House vote. But in terms of seats in Springfield's lower chamber, nothing changed after November. Literally nothing. That is from the Chicago Tribune editorial board. It seems as though it's not just the far right, which is just kind of even a funny statement for me to make, of the Illinois Republican Party that is saying, this isn't fair. I mean, this is really not fair.
Right. Well, because the Chicago Tribune, which is usually not going in our favor on these kind of things, they even know balanced government is a better government. And, 4078 is not balanced by any means. And bad policy is destroying our state. It just is.
Let me ask you one last question here. We're speaking with the House Minority Leader, Tony McCombie, on the Annie Frey Show. Timeline for this court case to potentially produce results. Is there any guess as to how soon we could or how long we'd have to wait?
So we now had to give our case as to prove our timeliness. And then the Illinois Board of Elections will then counter that. And so I'm not sure the exact timing, but I believe we have about a 30-day window there.
That seems fast.
Yeah.
For something like we would expect movement on this sooner than later. That's good to hear.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I sell hope every day, and it's here in Illinois, and I think you do too on your show, Annie. We're realistic, but we already have a win with just them, not dismissing it right away because it's so obvious. It's so obvious.
All right. Well, Tony McCombie, thank you for the time today, House Minority Leader. We want updates, so be sure to be in contact with me, and we'll get the updates here on the show to make sure people are paying attention.
For sure. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thanks. A good opportunity to talk to you there. Tony McCombie, I have worked with her. She was one of the people who went to the border with us.